So I can call us to order. Good afternoon, everyone. It is 12:59 p.m., May 28th, 2025, and I'd like to call this meeting of the Accessibility Advisory Committee to order. Welcome, everyone. I believe we're short one member, Mr. Wood, but we do have quorum. And we will be assisted today by Ms. Mahan, our Director of Community Services and Human Relations. Did I get part of that right? Anyway, and Sarah is going to be our scribe today too, so she's going to be double busy. So, before we go any further, I'll ask you to join me for a brief moment of reflection. Okay, thank you. Anyone have a disclosure of pecuniary interest? If nothing at this time, if something should arise, just make that noted. I'm just going to go through the public participation preamble first, and then we're going to get our picture taken. So that's a great way to start out a meeting. Members of the public are encouraged to provide the committee with their comments and questions. Presentations must be prearranged with legislative services before the agenda is released. Members of the public who wish to make a deputation about a specific agenda item at the meeting must register in advance with legislative services by 4 p.m. on the day prior to the meeting by contacting our acting clerk at email is clerk@meaford.ca or call 519-538-1060 extension 1110. Presentations are limited to 10 minutes and deputations are limited to 5 minutes. And I don't believe we have either today. So if we can take a brief break and we'll go back to the back of the room here and smile for the camera. If everyone will join me. Here. Take some chairs. Yeah, great. Front and center. I don't want to be front and center. Okay, well, this is one time. You get lost and tell us. Yeah. I'll tell you what to do. It's really simple. Smile. Simple is good. Perfect. This will be just okay. Take the pictures now. Sorry. Partly there? Perfect. Perfect. Picture everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Delaney, for doing that. If we can continue now, number 5 on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the last meeting back in March, which I understand was somewhat abbreviated, but anyway, we'll try to do better today. Would someone care to move the minutes for acceptance? Yeah. I think it'd be better to get it on the table, Mary. So thanks. So Mary and Wendy, yes, go ahead, Mary, if you have a question or a comment.
Just under the members, Truda Howard is there, and Truda has died, so yeah. And just in a bit of follow-up from our last meeting, I did send a card from the committee to her family. We had asked that at the end, so, yeah.
Yes, thank you for that, Mary.
And I guess my only other question about the minutes is, we did have some discussion. Should we have caught any of that, or, about putting in, who do we send our items to for the agenda, and also we don't have Bill, Stu Hiltz, Chairman X, and it was you, wasn't it, Stu? Yeah, you were the chairman, yeah. Yeah. But I think we had that, but I didn't know whether it was sort of even just to put down that there was some general discussion, because we were here for about an hour, so.
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Chair, yes, we can get those corrected. I think some of that is procedural. So you'll have to excuse me for not having complete understanding on that to be able to guide effectively. But just in us talking about that, it seems more it's procedural. But I'll verify that. If anything different, we will definitely get that on the minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Anything more from our last meeting? If not, all in favor of accepting the minutes? Thank you. That is passed. Now we did, and this is happening, I think, with all of our committees, municipal committees, and of course, the accessibility committee is a special one of our committees. The terms of reference have been sent out, and we just thought it might be a good idea to get them in front of you all again. There, I don't think there've been any changes. One that well, there are a couple that I think are pretty important, and I think our staff members do too. One especially is that the committee is really, one of our duties is to make recommendations to council, and that's one we always need to remember. Do anything from the terms of reference anybody wants to ask about, or again, I don't think they've changed. Yes, Wendy, go ahead.
Just number 7 on the terms of reference indicates that 50% of the membership should have a self-identified disability. We don't have that. Do we?
I'm sorry, we don't have what?
Do we meet condition 7 of the terms of reference,
Okay.
which states that at least 50% of the members shall have a
okay.
self-identified disability?
Yeah, that's So you're saying that's under number 7? I can't, yes, Sarah?
Thank you. And through the chair, in regards to number 7, when we were doing the recruitment for the advisory committees, and the term of reference for this would have been up, it would have been part of the application process that would have allotted the identification of a self-identified disability. So you may have done that when you joined the advisory committee. I would have to go back and take a look because I was not part of the recruitment committee on that. But I can take a look and see if we've met that. But this is nothing new in regards to terms of reference. It is also referenced for Grey County as well.
And
Thank
we, sorry, I was going to say, when they would have done the recruitment, Truda was part of that when she was chosen, and she definitely had identifiable, so that would have put us at the 50%. And I think most of us looking at our ages, we probably have some identifiable disabilities, but I know it is part of that process.
Mr. Chair, when I read that,
Thanks,
I
Mary.
interpreted it loosely to include people like Mary who are heavily involved in the disability community, even if she may not have a disability herself.
Also,
Yeah.
when I made my application, I don't know whether I put a comment. I have a hearing disability. I guess that's considered.
Yes, I agree, Heather. I agree totally. Yes, Sarah.
It's an age-related disability, I think, but it is a disability.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Thank you. And through the chair, it's not, as it's written, it seems to be from a visual self-identification. That's not the intention of it. It is that the person themselves have identified that they do have a disability. So it's not something that we identify, it's that you have presented that forward to be part of the committee. So I just wanted to make sure that there was clarity on that piece, but I can go back and we can do a review of that as well. That's totally fine.
Okay. And anything further?
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure exactly where it all fits, but can we get clarification on the difference between a deputation, a communication, and a presentation? If we as members of the public have ideas to put forward, where does that fit?
Okay, thanks for that. And I'll ask Sarah to help me on this one, but I'll only go from a personal experience as from another committee that I sit on. I was a committee member, but I was able to make a deputation at that committee. Kind of removed myself from being a committee member, and then go to the podium and make a presentation. Now, I'm assuming that would be the rule for all committees. Sarah, can you help me on that?
Thank you. And through the chair, I would love to be able to help you more on that. The problem is that I don't have that
You know,
comfort level to be able to give that advice. I would need to, because I would want to give you all of the detail. So if I could take that away and present that back to the committee through email in the next week, I can definitely provide those details, and then you've got them in your emails as well, if that's acceptable to the committee.
Thanks, Sarah. Again, in my experience, I did have to apply to the admin assistant previous and get my name on the agenda. I know that might seem a little overbearing, but I believe that's the way it's written up. But if you would like to do that anytime, you're more than welcome, Stu, because I know you have a lot of interest. Anything more on from the terms of reference, or is there anything that is listed there that you're not satisfied with, or would like any changes, any additions to it? Go ahead, Ms. Mahan.
Thank you. And through the chair, just to help, with moving some of the progress along here with some of the conversation I think we wanted to have around terms of reference was around our committee that we have sitting here, items that you would like to move forward, from an accessibility perspective. And the fact that we have through Grey County an accessibility model and committee that quite a few municipalities in our Grey County have chosen to be a part of. I am not 100% sure as to why we didn't jump on board at the time. But again, all I can look at is what we could do going forward. And when I was doing review of terms of reference between the two, our committee through Meaford and the committee through Grey County, we are equally trying to move the same type of situation along in regards to accessibility and bringing our communities into a more accessible state. And I think trying to do that independently of the rest of the municipalities that sit here, I think we're seeing that there's some struggle and some challenge with that. So in the agenda setting review that we had a couple weeks ago, we had talked about looking at the terms of reference between Grey County and ourselves, and maybe having a fulsome discussion on whether or not maybe we need to take this back to a discussion on whether or not we would want to apply to be on board with the county. Through their terms of reference, there is an opt-in and an opt-out with them, but it is an application process to which they would have to put a report together that we would present, but they would put a presentation towards their council to see if they would accept us to be a part of that. So I know that is something we had wanted to talk about. So I wanted to put that out here to see if there was any flavor for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for introducing that, Ms. Mahan. We aren't overly burdened with discussion items for today, and I just wondering if maybe we could talk about that. Again, Grey County has had an accessibility committee for a number of years, similar to our municipality. All of the other Grey County municipalities are connected, partnered, I guess you could say, with this Grey County committee. And I'm not sure. I think it's quite possible that the county committee, because of its size, because of its geographical representation, and also its population representation, likely has maybe a bit of an inside track on grants, that kind of thing. They do have at least one designated employee at the county, perhaps two, which should give them a bit of a benefit as to the world of accessibility. So if you have any comments, let's chat about the possibility. Mary, go ahead.
Okay, obviously you can see my temporizing here a little bit. We had this discussion back in the day when we had our own, like whether we should go with Grey County. In the past, often a rep from Meaford was at the Grey County Accessibility Committee. And yes, there may be, benefits from being in the bigger, but I can tell you that what I have seen in the past, keeping up with what's happening there, you lose the local connection. You lose what goes, you're not going to have the people going and looking at those site plans. You're not going to be getting that information of things that could change. You're not going to have those policies the way you should be. And to tell you the truth, from what I've seen out of Grey County Accessibility, take a look at the transit system. They promised us, and those comments went back to Grey County Accessibility, that route should be accessible. They told us it would be accessible. Was it ever accessible? No. So I'm sorry, I think we can do a lot more work on our own. I know it takes staff time. And I can say we have not really got up and going with this accessibility committee. When I look at what we've done in the past, it looks like we've just been going like this. And, but I think for the good of our local community, that we are better to look at some of the accessibility things at this level. We could be part of Grey County and bring their stuff back. But I can tell you a lot of the things that were pushed at Grey County came from that rep from Meaford. And so, I know, again, it's time, it's staff time, it's, lots of things for it. But as a citizen of Grey County, I would take that. I would rather have this committee than that committee, because I have not found that they have been very responsive to accessibility issues within Grey County. And I'm not that learned, but I can tell you with the transit one, I certainly even talked to the CAO, and, promises, and it never happened. And there are good people on that accessibility committee, but it seems to me it's such a big area that things don't move. And I would rather see us stay here, go back through those policies that we had in place to make sure that things here are accessible. I think it's in the chaos of the last 6 or 8 months, I think a lot of that stuff's just not been, where it should be, because there's just too many other important things going on. But my preference as a citizen would not be, it would be to have a link to Grey County Accessibility Committee, but I certainly think Meaford can do more locally for our people by having our own committee.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Thank you. Some good points. Thank you. Anyone else have any?
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I
yes.
agree strongly with Mary. I didn't get on this committee to have some distant other committee that tries to cover the whole county listen to what we're saying. I was hoping that we would be talking about projects right here in Meaford. And I think that local familiarity, every time I go downtown trying to get into restaurants or any building other than the library, that local familiarity is important. And apologies to Sarah, but I have the impression that we only get whatever staff member is available the afternoon of our meetings, and there's no consistent support. We're not talking about any projects. To me, this committee is just an administrative go-round.
Thank you. You remember, you mentioned the staff member, and I understand at the county there is a designated staff member for Grey County accessibility. That's one particular person who from the county who addresses the accessibility committee. They may deal with other committees too, I'm not sure, but they do have a designated admin person at the county. Sarah?
Just to build on through your comment, Mr. Chair, just so that you know as well. So the staff that they do have are Grey County Contract and Accessibility Coordinator, designated liaison for each local municipality, the Grey County Clerk, and the Grey County Deputy Clerk / Legislative Coordinator. So I just wanted you to have that information. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, they don't have reps from every municipality, do they? On their, I read their minutes and it doesn't seem to be a big crowd of people at their, and I'm not really sure. I guess I'm not sure why they wouldn't have a representative from each municipality, but as I say, just having read some of their minutes, it doesn't seem like every community is represented. Now, that may be a matter of preference. I don't know. Can you help me out there, Sarah?
Yeah. Thank you. Through the chair, I was just going to let you know who the participating municipalities include for the Grey County Joint Accessibility Committee. It's the Township of Georgian Bluffs, the Municipality of Grey Highlands, the Town of Hanover, the City of Owen Sound, the Township of Southgate, the Town of the Blue Mountains, and the Municipality of West Grey. Thank you.
No, thanks. I think that's everybody but us, I think. Heather, go ahead.
I'm curious, and I'm like Mary, I'm not sure bigger is always better. If we were to be with this committee, would there not be another level of, if you want to call it bureaucracy, I'm not sure that's the word, or another level? Because the requests would go to these people up here. These people would tell maybe another level. When does it get to the level where this person comes to council in Meaford and says, we need a new sign here? How long does that take?
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, through the chair. Thank you. Just as my brain's kind of moving as we're talking here, maybe something I could look into for us is seeing whether or not one of the representatives from the Grey County Accessibility Committee would be interested in coming to give a little presentation to our local committee on what it is that their overall board does, their committee does, and see if that floats any more conversation. Just trying to help on that.
Mary?
Yeah, and just to be clear, if we went with Grey County, this committee would be done, right?
That's correct. It would move up to the county level with the rest.
I'm not sure if I could still see them saying, oh, we need a subcommittee in Meaford. But you would have maybe, I don't know, a subcommittee, then you would have the representative, then you would have, is there a board? I'm just not sure how it filters back down.
If
Meaford
if we did what Sarah suggests, have someone from the county come and talk to us, I'm assuming their terms of reference, their goals, their aspirations are the same as what they were a number of years ago when the committee was involved. I don't know, but it would be, I think, interesting to have someone come and talk to you, and then we could inquire about that. Well, where, can we have subcommittees, task force, working committees locally? That could be a very good question to ask someone from the county.
would be, who's responsible for getting the job done?
No, we don't want to lose that local, grassroots, homegrown connection. Mary?
Yeah, and I think, it's not that I'm against Grey County. I just don't think it hits locally. And when I look around, you know, look at where we have been in the last 10 or 15 years with accessibility here. It's amazing. Look at the library, look at Meaford Hall, look at all the changes, even in the street corners, the bridge being built. I don't really see, when you go to a meeting that has that many people at it, what comes down to the local level. I think we'll still just have people advocating all the time, where Meaford has a way, or has had a way, to get those things moving within us. And if you want my terrible example right now, the white stage, which I know is now going, but if that was 2 years ago, that white stage never even would have been accepted as a donation, because it did not meet the criteria for accessibility for a stage. And I think just through all the things that have been happening lately, those kind of policies somehow have gotten buried. And I think we need to clean that up here. When we get it good here, then maybe we can go to Grey County. But right now, I think we would lose so much by going to a bigger body when, you know, if we were ticking along ourselves, we would have a lot to offer. And we used to offer a lot to Grey County. But right now, our things are actually, I feel, are going a little bit backwards. And not blaming anybody or anything, it's just the times that have happened lately. But I don't think accessibility in Meaford will be pushed ahead by going to a bigger committee where we're one little group compared to what's going on. But I agree with Sarah that we should maybe have them come and speak.
Mr. Chair, I agree strongly with Mary, but I'd like to ask, has there been any discussion among staff or among council that we should be getting rid of this committee and simply sending a representative to Grey County?
Yeah, good question. No, nothing, nothing direct. I think council and staff have had discussions about our committees in general. This committee, okay, just take one example. A couple of our committees, which I won't name, but municipal committees have had a lot of problems with membership, with keeping their members. We actually had one committee that had to kind of shut down for a couple of months because they basically lost the vast majority of their members. We've got, I would say, at least two other of our committees, without naming them, that we've had trouble getting quorum. Don't think we've ever had that with this committee. I think you folks have always been great at responding to coming out to the agenda. So there has been discussion about our committee system. Is it working? Is it worthwhile? Is it doing what council and staff really thought the purpose was? So I think every committee is likely on the table, but it's the discussion is primarily, you know, how can we improve the committees? How can we get the enthusiasm back there? How can we get the discussions back there? I think personally, this committee needs a couple of projects to work on, and one that comes to mind is the Meaford Moves service. I know, Stuart, you've mentioned it a couple of times. I don't know, does this committee need to be having I won't use the term subcommittee, but a task force of two or three of the members taking a look at Meaford Moves? Is the scheduling adequate? Is Meaford Moves being utilized by 8 or 10 people in the downtown area and kind of gobbling it up for everyone else. Whatever questions it might be. I'm just wondering if maybe we could look into that. It's a great service and I know a lot of people depend on it and that's the way it should be. But something like that, as I say, we need a project or two to delve into and then develop a report and have it come back to council. If there are problems, if you think, and there may be half a dozen other issues that we could be looking at, but that's in my opinion, something this committee needs to be doing. It's not just necessarily identifying specific problem areas, but it's more for a bigger picture of where could we do better. Heather?
Two suggestions or two opinions.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, I think as far as having a representative from the county, before we do that, I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but before we do that, we're new, we need to get our feet under us and find out. I mean, you know, it's not that, but some of the things I'm not familiar with, so we could maybe move that forward a little bit. And in the meantime, I would like to hear a representative from Meaford Moves. Who runs it? How do they run it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mary.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, in the past, we went and we had a whole, they brought us, they brought the van, we had a look at it, and we had, and staff told us, you know, how things were running. I know last year there was a big push to get more people on it. One of the biggest problems is it's the same time that everybody needs it, so it was running into the day program, but you know, also we had lots of people from Events for Life that needed rides to Thornberry for their program. And so, you know, there was discussion on how could we make that work. I just wanted to ask, and it might be work into something, and I think I heard this at a council thing, but is there still the wellness committee or well-being?
Thank you. Through the chair, yes, there is. It's just not fully active
Okay.
right now. We have to breathe new life back into that. So I think that that would be something that maybe this committee might.
Well, I just know someone said to me, and I had to send in a whole bunch of accessibility stuff to some people, is that they were very interested in supporting businesses to know how to get the information about accessibility. And that's not really our thing, but I know it was mentioned that maybe there could be a kind of partnership there that we could kind of make sure that they know where to get the information and things like that. So maybe that's something we could do, and that kind of addresses a lot of the things that are maybe just outside our scope, but we can influence. So, but I never heard any more about it. That was kind of like, boop, and then it was gone. So, and that was just a few months ago. So, and just, oh, sorry.
So maybe what I'm suggesting as far as a representative coming, maybe it's already been done. No, for Meaford Moves.
I would think every year it's good to know what's going on and maybe to an orientation to things that we did in the past. You know, I actually had someone stop me today and say, how come council didn't acknowledge Accessibility Week this year? Like, the town is doing things on social media, but it's like it came along and I think people feel we're losing our traction in it because, again, we used to see it right from the council. You know, it's Accessibility Week, we're doing this, da, 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 da. And we haven't, it wasn't announced as upcoming. Last year we did a film, I think, and, you know, so, but some of that has to, you know, we don't know all that information. It comes from staff. So I think, you know, we need to kind of have a look at what have we done in the past and what things have worked, because that really did get us, you know, spurred up to do a lot of great work here. And we're kind of just not getting that information right now.
So back to the presentation from the county. Do we want that right now or don't we? Because we could make a decision today and move forward. Or do we want to
Well,
leave it for some time in the future?
I think we could make that decision and, but again, I think it's up to the committee members. Do you want to have someone from the county come and talk to us about the community, the county, community as far as advisability is concerned? I think, I also think if you don't have any desire to change the present situation, then I'm you know, I'm quite all right with that too. I guess up to the committee. But on the other hand, I can't see any harm in having someone from the county come and give us an overview, and then we throw out the specific questions, like what can you do for our municipality? What can you do that's might be better than what our local committee is doing? So I'll just leave it up to the committee. If you wish to have them come, fine. If you don't, then I think that's your decision.
I guess it drills down to timing. Do we want it now or do we want to wait and in 2 months, 3 months, have a presentation? How do you feel, Mary? And
Well, we don't
gonna be 2
have
months
to
anyway.
decide today. I mean, this kind of came up somewhat out of the blue.
Yeah.
But whatever your thoughts are,
Yeah.
we need someone to make a motion and to second.
Well, I was just gonna say, learning more is always good. So I think it would be good to have Grey County come, but it might also be good for our committee members, and there's got to be something somewhere that kind of sums up, you know, I'm sure if we look, that sums up, you know, what's happened the last 5 years for accessibility here. You know, it's probably just, it's caught in, I think Margaret used to always do kind of you know, something that was all put together. So that gives us, but I think it's good to, you know, right now, am I biased that I don't want to go to Grey County? Yeah, I have to say that, but who knows, they might convert me. But I also would want to know things like timing, you know, and if we're asking questions, and can you just be advisory, or I think there's lots of things. So, you know, it's always good to ask those questions. We might be surprised, but.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to see the county idea balanced against a list of projects that we might do right here in Meaford, which we don't currently have. So I'd prefer to see a discussion of potential projects, including like the Meaford Moves thing. And I submitted 4 ideas a couple of weeks ago. I don't know where those have gone. I'd be glad to follow a better procedure and make a presentation, but I'd like to see us go into a meeting with the county already having at least a vague idea of here are some of the things we can do in Meaford.
Wendy?
3 things, I guess. The way I feel right now is I'm in agreement with Mary. I mean, I can only see, I think the only ideal way to work with the county is have a representative from this committee sit on Grey County Committee, because that's a way of dealing with issues that are common to all municipalities or inter-county or intermunicipalities. But I think smaller is better for getting things done here. We know what the problems are here, and I don't think the county, it's just more bureaucracy. But I think, like Mary says, it would be good to have them come if we have some specific things. And they come, what projects are you working on? And we should know, what projects are we working on? What's our plan for this year? What are we doing? And as for Meaford moves, if that's something that we would like to look at, you can only evaluate something, I think, if you've got some maybe data, like numerical stats, things like how often is it used? What's the frequency? What's its, things like that. And I don't know if we have those statistics, but if you looked at those annually and see how we were coming along with that service.
Yeah, thanks, Wendy. Sarah, I'm just wondering how we could handle this. I would suggest we, yeah, pertaining to the county, the only thing we would decide today would be if the committee thought they would like to hear a presentation from someone at the county. The other thing I'm hearing about is would it be beneficial to have a review of what our municipality has done accessibility wise in the last 5-6 years? And that maybe I'd like to see, I'd like to know that, I'd like to have a review of what we've done. I think we're familiar with a lot of the items, but if we had a list of what the municipality of Meaford has done to help out with those who have accessibility problems, then we'd have something to compare to the county. Does that make sense, Mary?
Yeah, it makes sense, but I just thought every year we have to fill out the compliance report. There's a report that was done every year, and I think in those reports are basically what we've done. So those should be pretty easy to access. I don't think compliance is the right word, but and then we've also set every so many years we have to set what our plan is, and then there's a report from that. So those documents should all be sending out, and probably if I went through my computer, I might have them, but I'm sure you can find them faster than me. But I think that would be the easiest way to know what we did.
Sarah?
Thank you through the chair. I appreciate that. And what I can do is for the next meeting we have is I can compile what I can grab. I will provide a summary of all of it. I'll provide all of the data, and we can go from there around some discussion on those projects.
That would be a good first step, and I think at the next meeting when we have that information, that review, then I think we might be better prepared to, bring back this discussion. And I'm not sure we don't need to make any decisions today. And maybe if we had that information, then we'd be more prepared. I guess the ultimate would be, okay, we can make up a list of what our municipality has done. Would it be fair to contact Grey County and say, okay, what have you done? But it'd be good to have something to compare to, like what projects have you been into? What advancements have you made? What do you think if we approach the county and ask for, it shouldn't be that difficult for them to make something up. Mary?
I'm going to say we used to always get the minutes. from the Gray County, and those were always attached onto our minutes. I mean, it's not as good as getting, what have you done? But I mean, at least it always kept it in our minds what they were doing, like, because they did the washroom project, which I think actually came from here first and, throughout Gray County. So they have done things, but
Yeah.
again, I think for the members here, depending on what we decide to do, getting those minutes were very helpful, because then if it was something we could kind of slip into, then, or something we were going to do and it would just be a repeat, we didn't have to do it. So having those minutes were really helpful.
Thank you through the chair. And to me, that is very low hanging fruit. We can absolutely have that attached to our agendas each time. That's not a problem at all.
Okay. Good. Well, that should there be more information. The more information we receive, the better we will be prepared to. Now, I mentioned just as an example, looking at Meaford moves, and I'm not sure the committee, really thinks it needs to be reviewed. Maybe everybody's happy with the Meaford moves situation. Yes, sure.
Sorry, I don't want to sound like a broken record or that I'm talking too much, but I just thought I'd add some detail to that. I can equally provide that at the next meeting as well, is the data from Meaford Moves, because we do get that as part of the invoicing. So I can add that and bring that as a report. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Mary?
It's not me, I'm talking for Sherman, but it seems to fit in here. He just wanted us to be aware, and I'm only saying it here because we're talking about Meaford Moves, is that he had a message from the AODA, and in the next 10 years, there's going to be to invest $10 million in upgrading and adding more accessible busing vehicles. So just something for us to be, because I know there has been talk over the last couple of years of adding a second bus. And I know also looking at ridership a bit differently, but anyway, I just want to add that there may be funding coming that could be applied for, and that's from Sherman.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks for that. Okay, is there anything else that we need to discuss today? Mary, go ahead.
Sorry. Must be because I'm stuck at home all the time. I just wanted to ask, this was something that I don't know ever happened, but it hit me the other day with all the building going on, that we were going to put in, when people came for building permits, commercial building permits, there would be a reminder about, think of accessibility, think about, how your parking's going to work, how your entrances are, what your washrooms are like. And it wasn't a big deal. It was just because people forget. And so we started put it into the building permits, or it might even be anything that you would send out to the builders and developers in the area. But there's so much development going on. And anyway, I just thought it might be something we could sort of another project, I guess, but I thought that was an excellent way. And I remember we did have one builder who did get in touch about their parking. Now it was turned out they never went ahead, but their accessible parking was totally inaccessible. So they just wanted us to look at it, not to say this inch or that inch, but does this work for you people? And of course you couldn't get from the door to the parking because it was all outside. And so, and they couldn't put it inside because of vans would hit the roof. And so anyway, it was really interesting, but it was nice to have some expertise that they came to us to say, just give us what a person who would be in this situation would think. So just maybe something else for us to look into. But I thought the reminders were good.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. On the subject of accessible parking, I think we do have a considerably good number of accessible parking spaces marked out. does the county, does the committee rather have any comments on that? I'm wondering if I have observed situations where, hey, look, this parking space is for people with disabilities, and I'm always amazed at some people who pull up and park, and simply because they parked in a accessible parking lot, they can jump out of their vehicle and run into the store. And whether there's some kind of magic cure there that I don't know. Am I the only one who it does happen? And you know, that's not really the intention of them. And I as a municipality, like, to me, this is falls under the bylaw enforcement realm, and I'd be curious to know how good a job we're doing and following up on this type of you know, checking on people. I've Mary,
Yeah.
go ahead.
On. This was a few years ago when we got our new handicap, but I can tell you Jeff got hit. And if you, and if you really want to spend a lot of money, be caught in a handicap parking space without your identification, and that's all bylaw can go by. And he forgot to put it in the window. Now, it all worked out because it was just starting, but yeah, because of course there's lots of people with hidden disabilities that, you know, mobility might not be it. It might be that they can't breathe well enough to get from A to B, cardiac stuff like that, but they need to have that permit in their car. So
Mr. Chair, in my experience, the marked accessible spots on municipal streets, I've never found a shortage of those, and I've found them rarely used by other people. But in any commercial plaza situation, none of the accessible spaces are ever accessible for a side loading van. There isn't enough space provided to the side, and they're frequently misused. But that's the difference between municipal and commercial. The worst situation I've experienced in Meaford is the gravel parking lot full of giant potholes behind the TD Bank and McGinty's in that area. But it apparently is privately owned, so the town can't do a thing about it, which I think is appalling. But anyway, the street parking is fine. The ones in front of the library especially are great.
Yeah, okay. Mary.
I think you just came up with another project though, because sometimes it's just letting people know, kind of like an advocacy, and we could maybe talk about that at another meeting, but how, you know, this is so good and yay for the municipality for doing that right. But we also have this problem and we're going in to try to shop at your shops, and, you know, I just think advocacy sometimes works, and that may be something that can fit under our, you know, we'll go with ECDev on that one or something.
Yeah, go ahead, Sarah. Suggest how can we work on something like that? How can the committee be involved in something like that?
Well, I think through you, through the chair, I think one of the options would be to start having that fulsome discussion right here, bringing our communications in to be part of that conversation, and seeing some alignment on what we're doing with them, taking into account what you had said about that the municipality has been working on getting some items out there to make everyone aware of accessibility this week. So I think if we could bring them in and we could collaborate a little bit on that, we could see about some advocacy on that side of it. But I think you're nailing it on the head when you talk about the advocacy and about programs and reminders and all of those things. Those are initial steps. to start the process down accessibility.
Okay, Wendy?
It just reminded me, those spots in front of the library are one place where I do see it abused because people are just running in to drop off a book or something. I see it a lot there.
Mary, go ahead.
I just wanted to send out, as you mentioned, communications. I want to send out kudos for what they've been doing this week. Like there's been lots of great, if you're on social media, and I'm not on it all the time anymore, but they've been some really, really good and things. And I had to laugh when I saw them do the accessible picnic tables. But the one they had for the first picture, they had to put the label over because it was just a picnic table. But then they found a picture of the actual one. So, but yeah, it's really nice. But I think maybe we need to do that more through the year, not just through this. But I think they've done a great job, and also the library. Fantastic stuff coming out now from the library with their dementia clock, and so kudos to them.
Thanks, Mary. Yeah, the library does a great job, and I know they were. I understand they were having a photo gathering this morning at the library, and for accessibility week, and I will just mention that the municipality is flying the accessibility flag, as I understand it, and we're also doing some lighting on the water tower this week, which is, if you get a chance to take a look at it, it's kind of neat for the aging water tower. Is there anything further? Like we have committee inquiries, and we've had quite a few comments and discussion today, but is there anything, anyone have any inquiries that maybe we can check on and get back to you?
I think probably before we move further with anything, we can hear Sarah's report or read your report on the last 5 years, what we've done.
Thank you.
And that
Through
will
the chair.
bring up more discussion.
Yes, I don't have a report done yet.
No,
You
but-
guys have just let me know that
Yeah.
that is a request. So I'm actually just compiling all the action items that I have for next meeting, and I will talk to it at the end.
Mhm.
I just thought I'd let you guys continue to talk and.
Sure, yeah, it'd be great.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I think you've got a few items to look into, and we may be getting quite a bit of information back for our next meeting, number of discussion points. If there's nothing else from anyone, Mary, did you have?
Just wanted to mention that I know we're thinking more summer, but of course my mind has to go to Christmas. Just that we are going to have a concert again this year with performances diverse abilities. Same as we had, similar to last year. It'll be different, a little different. And so anyway, the planning is underway for that. I think we have most of the performers already, and yeah, so it was a big success last year. Over 300 people came, and
Yeah.
so we're adding on a welcome reception for the performers this year, but
Is
Yeah.
this like it was tied into Christmas on the
yeah,
Bay?
it's
but,
still tied into
still
Christmas on the
Pretty
Bay.
well the same time of year.
I will still say the words DEI because that's who it's under on Christmas on the Bay, though. Poor DEI gets hit a lot these days, but yeah.
No,
so-
no, it seemed to be. a
Yeah,
good-
we were asked to see if we could do it again, so that was kind of cool, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
And the performers were,
it was an interesting performance. It really, I'm hoping it opened a lot of eyes and minds, because certainly the energy was there. No doubt about that. Well, is there anything more? Sarah, do you have any closing words of wisdom for us?
I wouldn't call it wisdom, that's for sure. But I just want to confirm with the committee of the items that I'm going to bring back for our next meeting. So I'm going to provide a report back to committee around the last 5 years of Meaford moves, as well as the well-being and accessibility plan that has gone on in the last 5 years and what that has looked like. So I will try and combine that into one report. It may be two, but letting you know that I will work on that. Immediately, we will have the minutes from Grey County. I will go back to January of this year unless committee would like me to go further. But I could do minutes back to January of this year and add them to our next agenda that comes out so that you can take a look at all the ones that have already gone on. And then we can commit to making sure that they're always current with the current agenda for accessibility. And then the last one is the accessible parking, and kind of a summary of where we're at. I'll see if I can't chat with bylaw a little bit, and see if they're available. If not, if I can get some detail to bring back on what their views have been of accessible parking to date. I hope I've captured everything as you all have wanted it.
Thanks, Sarah. No, that sounds like a pretty good synopsis of what was discussed. Okay, well, if there's nothing more, at least it was a pleasant afternoon an hour and a half ago. I'm hoping it still is. I think personally, we got enough rain last week to do us for a few more days of sunshine. So if there's nothing else, I'll call the meeting adjourned. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see what we can come up with in a couple of months. Sounds as if we're going to have a fair bit of reading and information anyway, and that's good.